Hey guys, what's up? Me here, Kitty. Alright, so today I'm coming at you with something a little bit differently. I feel like I say that every video. Every video is different. Every video is unique. But this one is especially unique because it's unique to the era of the games that I cover. Most of them, at least. Obviously, if you're too young to remember, or if you weren't cool and you didn't have computer games, or didn't own, like, really any major gaming system, really, so some games would actually come with demos of like a company's like other games and stuff like that. And when I was playing the Fisher Price, pirate ship adventure game, Great Adventures, my bad, I actually noticed during the installation that there was one thing in the installation files called like Davidson previews. And at first I thought maybe like, oh, it meant like the video files or something like that. Like it was like, the little animation videos that would play during the game, like when you're doing like the canon game and stuff like that. I came to realize though, because I noticed it in the files of the CD at first, but I didn't notice it was in the actual installation folder, like where it got installed. When I obviously went to the installation folder to start the game, I realized that actually there were like little demos of their games on there. I didn't play any of them, and I actually went through some of the other Fisher Price titles to see if maybe they had some, and there actually were. These two actually have demos on them as well, but it kind of makes sense because I believe actually these three games came out like in the same year, or like in the same like kind of couple of year spans in that area. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through and just kind of play the demos, on top of that just seeing like what the demo stuff is like. So I'm gonna start with the Pirate Adventure one because that's the one we just played recently, and that one is just very plain, just here are the demos. The other two actually did something really unique that I think would be really cool. I don't know if they're going to preview the exact same games. Obviously, if they do, I'll just cut out the second game and, explain that, yes, they're the same. Okay, so let's get into this one first, and this one's demo, and then we'll go to the other two. Hey guys, okay, so it's a brand new day. I was trying to fix my CD-ROM driver, So I stayed up until I think about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, literally following an online tutorial on how to literally break apart my CD-ROM drive, get in, clean the laser, do some other troubleshooting things. Everything seems to be fine with the CD-ROM drive itself, so that's gonna be okay. On top of that, I totally forgot with the pirate ship one. For some reason, when you go into the program file and you actually try to view the previews, it doesn't load up, but if you go into computer and then you open up the actual CD-ROM files themselves, that works for some reason. I don't know why. I really have no idea why. But it does work. I just don't know if there's supposed to be something before that. So unfortunately we'll probably miss that, but I will still do the demos. So yeah, this is really all we get with the pirate one. And I did try out one of them just real quickly, I just clicked on one, see did it load up at least? Or was it one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm only going to show you a little bit, but I'm not going to make it interactive? Or it's only going to be the video, it's not going to be an interactive bit. I think it's going to be fine, so fingers crossed. My legs are also crossed because, you can't have an even number, they just cancel each other out, so you gotta have an odd number, so there's 3 things crossed. Triple good luck. That's totally how it works. So I'm just gonna go left to right, bottom, or top to bottom. So I'm gonna start with Magic Circus. Ready for learning Magic Circus, which is for the ages 2 to 4. I am obviously not the target demographic here.
Welcome to Fisher Price Ready for Learning Magic Circus for children aged 2 to 4. Hi everybody, I'm Rumba the Ringmaster. Welcome to the Fisher-Price Circus. 3 rings of fun and learning under the big top.
Nice. Can I do something here?
Ready for Learning Magic Circus will prepare your child for that first important educational milestone, nursery. Learn colors, shapes, and counting with Ella Elephant as you feed her biscuits. Children can even decorate their own tasty treats.
All aboard!
Children will be right on track with Carlo as they learn to recognize numbers and letters. It's time to order some mixed-up pictures with Penelope Pony! Boost memory and sequencing skills while learning nursery rhymes and practicing daily routines! Sort colors and shapes with these silly seals by bouncing the right shapes onto the seals' noses! Improve listening skills and learn about the sounds that animals and musical instruments make in a playful game of peekaboo with Carly Kangaroo and Kiwi too.
Listening skills.
Ready for Learning Magic Circus is the playful way to prepare your children for learning.
That's right, Rumba! Children will learn to recognize colors, shapes and sizes, learn letters and numbers, identify things that are the same, and much more! Parents can chart their children's progress in the Special Skills Matrix.
Thanks, Carlo! I couldn't have said it better myself. And now, on with the show! Bye-bye!
Fisher-Price Ready for Learning Magic Circus for children aged 2 to 4. Strengthens memory, sequencing and matching skills. Teaches cause and effect and same and different relationships. Encourages creativity. Teaches the alphabet and letter sounds. Reinforces color, size and shape recognition. Enhances problem solving and listening skills. Builds vocabulary and numerical skills. For more information, contact CUC Software International on 01189 209 111.
111. I will say, this is something I did notice about this after the fact. So, obviously on the back here of the pamphlet, it can focus. There we go. So you notice, obviously, the pricing on the 3 games that are being advertised here, they're in pounds. They are not in American dollars. So I wonder if the demo would have changed because of the fact of, like, you know, this isn't like an American version. This is a European version of this game, which answers the age-old question about computer games, which is, especially with, like, you know, children's games, were they region-locked? Absolutely not. Because apparently I've proven that I can now play a European-released game on my computer. I don't think that was a question for anybody else, but that is a common question I have for myself when I get into, like, old technology or something like that. Because I know, like, my very first gaming system that I had, other than the computer itself, was a PlayStation 1. And of course, as we all know with the PlayStation 1, that was absolutely region-locked. You had to literally modify the actual hardware to unlock it, to be able to play any games from any other region. And it's funny too, because one thing I really love about the Fisher-Price game series itself is the fact of how many of their products you actually see in their games. Like, it's not just like the game itself is based off of the product. Like, obviously, the pirate ship one is based off of the pirate ship playset. The castle one is based off of the castle playset. And then, you know, Wild Western Town is based off of the Wild Western Town playset. It's not just that. Like, you saw it in, like, the Magic Circus, or maybe you didn't, and I'll blow it up on the screen for you guys to see. But there were actual tidbits of some Fisher-Price toys, because I actually vaguely remember the Magic Circus playset. I think Fisher-Price was the one that developed, like, a Magic Circus playset. And I think it was like, you know, you linked it together and it had all the cute little animals, and, you know, it was like a train set, and you could just, you know, pull it around your house and everything. Like, it was really super cute. But I just find that really awesome that they not only are advertising, like, you know, the main product that it's based off of, the actual game, but they also have, like, little cameos of, like, their other products in there that, like, they're really recognizable, like, not just by, like, the uniqueness. Like, obviously, I think the most iconic Fisher-Price toy is the phone with the face on it. The toy phone, no, it wasn't a rotary phone. Well, actually, no, it was a rotary phone. I think it was a rotary phone. But you could drag it around and, you know, the eyes would blink and everything like that. Like, that's, like, one of the most iconic Fisher-Price toys, I think. And you see that every single time. It was featured in Toy Story! Like, that's how iconic this toy is. Like, that's how, like, popular this toy was back in the day. It was featured in Toy Story. But yeah, so as I'm going through all these demos, of course, I'm going to be, like, writing down or, like, putting them in my list of, like, oh, this is another game I want to get for my collection. Because I have an ongoing list. I'm literally going through Moby Games as well. And, like, going through, like, starting at 1994 and working my way down. Okay, I'm sorry. You know how I like to talk. We talk a lot here. We have conversations. We have intellectual conversations about children's games. But so the next one now is Ready for Learning Play Family, which is even more odd the age range. It is for, that's either 1.5 or 1 1/3. I can't read it from this far away and it being that small of a text. To 3 years old. I mean, I'm glad that if I get these games, I'll have a large range of educational games that I can give to my child and they can play. It'll keep them busy. They'll be learning. And it'll be just something that we can kind of bond over, I suppose, because obviously these are a lot of games that I grew up with. And then I get to pass them down to my kid when I have them. And then they get to play them. Hopefully they like the games. It's more than likely I spent a lot of money on them.
Ready for Learning Play Family lets parents introduce early learning concepts and beginning computer skills to their children aged 18 months to 3 years. Based on the popular Fisher-Price Play Family characters, Ready for Learning Play Family contains 20 playful and engaging activities loaded with sights and sounds. In the counting activity, children will have great fun learning to count to 10 as they help Smiley the Clown blow up balloons by blowing into a microphone or tapping the keyboard.
In the Shapes and Colors activity, children will learn to recognize that shapes and colors are part of their environment.
I think they already knew that.
The program also introduces your child to first concepts like blowing bubbles, exploring animals and their sounds, recognizing the ABCs, using the telephone, and much more.
Oh, don't worry, my kid's gonna know how to use a telephone, probably better than I can.
There is even a special skills matrix so parents can guide their children to specific activities and skills. Fisher-Price Ready for Learning Play Family is the fun-filled software program that gives your toddler a terrific start to their first important years.
It's funny when they say that, because I'm just like, you think about it, 1.5 to 3 years old using a computer. And I mean, we think, you know, using a phone, like, having a toddler use a phone is outrageous. And I'm like, back in the 90s, we were encouraging our children to play on the computer, like, learning stuff on the computer. Like, we knew that they were going to be using the computer anyways. We use it all the time, so they're going to be wanting to use it. Why not make games? And I definitely don't think I'm going to be one of those parents that, kind of has a fit and is like, back in my day, technology wasn't like it was today. Like, children didn't have to. It's like, no, it's like, and if anything, I guess for me, like, the advancement of technology is inevitable. I think, yes, there is a danger to the idea that, technology is rapidly changing so much. It's like the idea of, like, leaping before you look kind of idea. I think that's kind of where we're at with technology, is we're leaping before we look. We're not really thinking about, like, that there really are consequences to some technology. And it's like, okay, let's take a step back real quick. It's like, this technology is awesome, but let's think about the consequences. Like the idea of, like, the self-driving car and, like, that whole example of, like, the moral dilemma. A self-driving car is awesome. In a lot of ways, it would actually reduce the amount of car crashes that there are. Because obviously, if you have a bunch of cars that are more aware of their surroundings than human beings are, then it would reduce a lot of that, because on top of that, you wouldn't have the problem of people speeding. You wouldn't have the problem of cars, like, obviously crashing into other cars, or, like, people being like, oh, I didn't see them there. But it's almost like we're accepting of human error in the sense of, like, if we don't see somebody, it's like, it's almost like written off, like, okay, yeah, they were sitting behind this building, how could they not see, blah, blah, blah. It's like with a car, there's no excuse for that. A car would know. A car would be able to, like, look through buildings and been like, there are 50 people that could be here in 58 seconds, da da da. But there's also the consequence of, and this is why me in the computer science field and me in IT always is pushing for the fact of, you need to be aware of the security. And like one dilemma I'm having right now is kind of like, so I bought a bunch of the Sims games, like Sims 1 and Sims 2 games. But Windows recently just put out an update, and it's making it really difficult for me to install those. Like, I can't install the Sims 2 at all because Windows is blocking it. Even though I'm an administrator and I am the only user that uses my computer. There is a way to go into the registry keys and completely turn off a security feature. I don't feel comfortable doing that, though. If it was temporary, I would feel like I trust the program enough that I'm gonna, take it out, put it back in, and then just play the game. The problem is, though, is that every single time I want to play this game, I would have to disable that registry key. And it's always bad news bears when you want to, mess with registry keys. That is obviously something that should be completely reserved for people that know what they're doing. And I know what I'm doing. I went and researched the key and what it does and everything else, but I still don't feel comfortable doing it. But yeah, so the next one now is Ready for Learning Kidstown, which is for a little bit older group, 4 to 6. As a kid, that sounded like a great idea, having a town just for kids. As an adult, that sounds like an awful idea.
For ages 4 to 6 is a multimedia playland that teaches children the skills they need to get a head start on early learning. This informative CD covers 30 age-appropriate skills that introduce your child to a full learning experience. The program also includes 4 activity books and a print kit for fun away from the computer. Among the many exciting activities is JJ's Dance and Sing-Along, where music brings the alphabet to life. JJ the Jukebox plays 26 original songs in 5 finger-snapping styles. As the music plays, the words appear in the window. Children can sing along, even read along, all day long.
Turtles, tiptoe.
At Robbie's Wacky Word Factory, learning letter sounds is as easy as blowing bubbles. Professor Bubble blows out vowels and consonants to create over 100 everyday words.
K. A. T. You made cat.
There's lots of fun at Susie's Snack Shop, where children are taught to add, subtract, and count from 1 to 10. Learning numbers is made to order as children serve up yummy lemonade and ice cream cones.
Yum, yum. Thanks.
Every day is a great day at Clara's Calendar Corner. Children can create and print out their own personalised calendars while learning facts about each month, the seasons, and important holidays.
On the 30th of July, 1966, England won the World Cup.
Great.
Tick-Tock Clock Tower makes learning about time easy. Interactive digital and analog clock faces teach children how to recognise the hours and minutes, while changing backgrounds of day and night emphasise the concepts of AM and PM.
It's 8:30. Time for bed. Oops, can you get my book?
With Fisher-Price ready for learning Kidstown, parents can track children's progress and guide them to specific activities with the easy-to-use skills matrix. For more information, contact CUC Software International on 01189 209 111.
It's funny, I know that there's not a lot of talking during, and I have to wait until afterwards, obviously, because it goes. There's no, like, pausing or anything like that. If it was more interactive, I'd be able to pause, kind of comment on it. But it is really funny because I'm like, there's a lot of skills in there that I think kids today, adults today, still need. I see many, many adults today who still don't know how to read an analog clock. And I don't blame them. I'm not saying, like that's dumb. But I'm just saying it's a sad fact because even today, we still use an analog clock in many places, like, an office building, a school building, a town square in a sense. They still use an analog clock. And there's a lot of people that don't know how to read it. And I feel bad because I'm just like, there's a lot of people that shame them for not being able to read it. And I'm like, don't shame them. I'm like, I'm going to be honest. We had that stuff in class. How to read a digital and analog clock. I remember getting flashcards. We had flashcards. And just for public humiliation 101 kind of idea, like granted, my teacher was super nice. Obviously. She was great actually. But it was still humiliating. Because you had those kids who were like, you're so stupid, you don't know how to do this. And it's like, shut up, you're 4 years old and you don't know how to do it either. I just saw you over there eating glue. But, like, we would have these flashcards, and, some of them would be an analog clock time, some of them would be a digital clock time. And our teacher, would shuffle the deck, and, they'd call our names, and then they'd flip it, and you'd have to read it. And obviously, I'm sitting there, I think this was actually, like, 2nd grade where we learned this. I'm sitting there, and I am praying to God, I'm like, please, for the love of God, get me a digital clock. Please get a digital clock. And I'd always get the analog clock. So I'd have to sit there like an idiot trying to figure it out. And I'd be like, 5, 10, 35. Small hand is behind the 10, so that means it's 9 or something like that. And I'd be like, it's 9 something, and half the times I get it wrong, sometimes I get lucky and I get it right. Even today, there's times where I have trouble reading an analog clock. Where I'll be looking and I'll be like, is it 10:30? No, wait, no, it's 9:45 or something like that. I'm like, shoot. But for the most part, I know how to read one. But I feel bad that a lot of people get shamed for not being able to read an analog clock. Because I'm like, because barely anybody taught us. We have this that teaches us how to do clock things. Same thing with, like, daylight savings time. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that don't know when daylight saving time. I barely know when daylight saving times is. The only thing that helps me remember daylight savings times and like which way to move the clock or like which way to move the time, like when I need to. There was like this little rhyme that was like fall back, spring forward. When it's the fall in daylight savings times, changed it over. You go back an hour. But then in the springtime, when it, daylight saving times ends or begins, I can't remember which one it is. That's how much knowledge I have about this topic. You go up 1 hour. So that's why I say, like, in the spring, you lose an hour of sleep or something like that, because you have to move it an hour forward, so that at 12 it's actually 1. Fantastic. We always love that. But there's still a lot of things in here that I think would still be relevant today, and I think that's why a lot of these, like, edutainment games, they really do kind of stand the test of time. Because, yes, they're very basic skills, but they're skills that even people today, I think, need. Why do I feel like that there's a hair in between my arm when there's not a hair there? Is there one, like, on my shirt? Okay, but this next one now, I have actually seen a lot of. I've seen, like, advertisements in, like, the pamphlets, as well as just in other Fisher-Price toys, and, like, when I look up, like, old edutainment games. This one seems to pop up a lot, so this one's technically already on my list, but I still want to look into it. So it's an activity center for ages 3 to 6, and it's called Toyland. It was a good movie, though, too. That one was made by Don Bluth.
Fisher-Price Activity Center Toyland, where children aged 3 to 6 years learn.
Little Snoopy.
Hi there, I'm Gregory Gopher, and this is Toyland. By clicking on one of the 6 popular Fisher-Price toys on this map, your child can begin playing and learning in Toyland, where everyone and everything is a toy. The 3-in-1 creativity table is a place where your child can play 3 activities. Painting and drawing allows children to visually distinguish colors. Block building motivates children to strengthen their shape recognition skills. And crafts inspires children to use their imagination to create a masterpiece. At Flip Track Mountain, children will operate a whole series of vehicles, like cars, trains, helicopters, and boats, while delivering important packages. At the Big Action Garage, children build wacky vehicles using zany parts to match the vehicle displayed on the garage card.
The all-in-one kitchen center. Hi, I'm Bibbidi Bee. There's so much to do here at the all-in-one kitchen center.
First, we will learn how to follow a recipe as we bake delicious biscuits. Then we will learn about numbers as we cut out our biscuits. Talking Smart Street is a playful place filled with fun animations. Children will discover numbers, letters, animal sounds, colors and shapes. Join me and all my Fisher-Price friends in Toyland. We'll have a great time. The skills matrix clearly lists each activity, tells whether your child has played the activity, and the skills developed. Fisher-Price, ready for learning activity center Toyland for ages 3 to 6, where children play and learn as their favorite toys come to life. Each activity can be played instructionally or independently to strengthen learning skills such as color and shape recognition, matching, critical thinking, hand-eye coordination, and following instructions. All of the games include engaging songs for children to sing along and activities that stimulate a child's creativity. For more information, contact CUC Software International on 01189 209 111.
You're probably going to memorize that phone number by the end of this. Well, if you live in, the UK. I don't think that phone number works anymore. But, if you live in the UK and you want to call that number, you let me know if it still works. I find the concept very funny, though, because, I was thinking, Toyland, how, the fictional Toyland that, is always very popular in media. It's it's a land full of toys and everything like that. And it makes sense, because obviously Fisher-Price makes toys. All of these games that they've made are based off of real-life toys that they have, that they've manufactured already. But it's funny, because I love how it's instead of actually playing with the real-life toy that you have, you can just buy this CD for $12 and play with, 5 or 6 of them. And I'm like, this was the budget. The budget, negotiation factor for parents with their children. I can't buy the $50 kitchen set with the $50 or $30 woodworking set for my kids. I'm just gonna buy this game. But I think the games would still be pretty fun for, the kids themselves anyways. And again, I did recognize quite a few of them. When I saw the kitchen set, though, it was funny because there's two toys that I thought about. So one of them I thought about was my baby cousin's kitchenette set. My sister and I think I might actually have a video of us looking at this kitchenette set, or I might have taken a picture of the kitchenette set. If I can show it, if I don't think it's gonna be too, like, invasive, I'll show it. But I mean, like, I think I made a rant to this in some of my other videos, like, the toys themselves, like, nowadays, I'm like, what the frick, where were these toys when I was a kid? My baby cousin's kitchenette set has a little holder for her smartphone. What? We didn't have a phone in our like, little kitchenette set. What the heck? We barely had food. We had to combine it with Play-Doh to make the food. Actually, you know what? No, I'm sorry, I got that reversed. We got the food. We barely had any of the utensils to actually use. We had to go and ask Mom if we could borrow the real-life kitchen utensils for our Fisher-Price kitchenette set. And then you had to combine that with the Betty Crocker Easy Bake, because your oven didn't actually work. And you're like, but I want to make brownies with a fluorescent light. But yeah, speaking of Easy Bake, so apparently, again, very close to Fisher-Price. I'm trying to remember, Fisher-Price... Did Fisher-Price collab, or do they own Tonka? Okay, Tonka is its own thing. I can't remember if they collabed or if they just made their own thing and it looked a lot like Fisher-Price's stuff. But you know, like, the keyboard attachment for Tonka that they had back in the day? I remember seeing advertisements for it all over TV when I was a kid. I remember actually thinking it was really cool. And you know, like, you had, like, the crane system, and, like, you had, like, the levers and the pulleys and stuff like that you could use to, like, operate a game on your computer. Easy Bake Oven made something very similar to this. It was a keyboard attachment thing. You had bowls and levers and everything else, and obviously I'm trying to find a set of this where it's not just a CD, it's also with the attachment. I would love to find one that's been unopened or very lightly used, like still has everything inside packaged, but obviously I can't. And out of the stuff that I can find, I think it's like $200 this thing. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna need to wait on that purchase. I'm gonna need to like rethink it for a little bit. I'm like, I have bills that are less expensive than that toy, that one toy, for 3 months. That one toy is like 3 or 4 months of one bill for me. The heck? So I'm like, I have it in mind, I want it, but it is very, very difficult to find. But alright, let's move on to the other two that may or may not be different, not really sure, but we'll see.